This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13, and verse 1 and 2. Surely vain are all men by nature, who are ignorant of the Most High, and could not out of the good things that are seen know him that is. Neither by considering the works did they acknowledge the workmaster, but deemed either fire or wind or the swift air or the circle of the stars or the violent water or the lights of heaven to be the gods which govern the world. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 13, verse 1 and 2. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Bracha, Kodash. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, it's the brother Haran coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right, and just wanted to go into this article real quick. All right, and before I do so, all right, went into this precept here. All right, in the book of Wisdom of Solomon. All right, and it's all through the Spirit, because ultimately, one of the main reasons why Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is going to set this place, America, Babylon the Great, ablaze, all right, is because of something known as idolatry. Okay, worshiping these idols, having idols. They have something called American Idol. Back then. Okay, just a few years ago, they had something known as American Idol, which they have in many different iterations. Nowadays, I don't even know if American Idol is still a thing. All right, I don't remember the last time I even saw that. I don't even watch TV, so some of these things I'm not even familiar with. But when I used to watch TV back when we were kids, these are things they used to show on TV. And I remember as a kid asking that question of, American Idol. Doesn't the Bible say not to have idols? Why would they even put that in the name, like a title? Weird shit like this used to intrigue my mind as to why people are doing things, that was outside of what was acceptable, all right, according to the scriptures. That's how we grew up. So being exposed to the American culture as it is, what I'm saying, even if you're born in it, if you have a semblance of truth and spirituality to you, you'll be able to tell that there's something incredibly wrong with this place. Okay? And that is the main reasons why America, Babylon the Great, will be destroyed by thermonuclear fire. And that is the judgment from the Heavenly Father. Okay? So let's read this article here. All right. And this is on Natural News. Okay, it says, we have become guinea pigs in a ruthlessly calculated, carefully orchestrated, chillingly cold-blooded experiment in how to control a population and advance a political agenda without much opposition from the citizenry. Okay, and the reason why the people are not opposing these agendas is because they've grown accustomed to it. All right, the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai said that he was going to destroy this place. All right, so if he's going to destroy this place, that means that there's going to be people here who are going to be destroyed. All right, so for him to be justified in destroying these people, they got to be, all right, in a state of wickedness. All right, and that is why the Lord will destroy them. Okay, let's get that in the book of in the book of Isaiah. Let's see if I can pull that up real quick. All right, and this is what the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is going to do. All right, the God of the Bible. Okay, he has a mission. He has a goal. He's going to send his son down, all right, to come and institute order upon the face of the earth. Okay, and the reason why is because what? This place is filled with wickedness. All right, wickedness at an all-time high. All right, so let's see. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, and verse 9. It says, behold, the day of the Lord Yahweh cometh, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger. To what? To lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Okay, when you make something desolate, let's look it up real quick. Okay, when you make something desolate or a desolation, all right, it says the state of complete emptiness or destruction. You hear that? Complete destruction. That's what it means to make something desolate. Okay? Google says, what does desolate mean in the Bible? It means joyless, right? That's why the people of America are not happy, all right? And it's going to be proven very soon, because very soon you're going to see people in the streets bugging the hell out. It's happening now. But according to biblical prophecy, which is the compass in which the world follows, okay, according to biblical prophecy, that is something that happens before the end, or at least before the destruction. Okay, these are all part of the end, but there is the end before the end, right? That is the troubles that comes before the end of this place, the destruction that ends this place, right? So this place, the word desolate means joyless, right? Disconsolate, right? Sorrowful through, or as if through separation from a loved one. Okay, so that means you're going to have people that you know who are going to be dropping left and right. People that you know who are going to be arrested. People that you know who are going to be killed. A lot of people are going to go fall by the wayside very soon. Okay, all through the judgment of Yahweh Bashim El Shai. All right. So let's go back to the article. It says, this is mind control in its most sinister form. With alarming regularity, the nation is being subjected to a state or a spate of violence that terrorizes the public, destabilizes the country, and gives the government greater justifications to crack down, lock down, and institute even more authoritarian policies for the so-called sake of national security without many objections from the citizenry. Okay, and that is something known as problem, reaction, solution, or something otherwise known as the Hegelian dialectic. All right, I'll show you something real quick. The Hegelian dialectic is something known as, in philosophy, right, it says an interpretive method in which the contradiction between a proposition and its antithesis is resolved at a higher level of truth. What does that mean? That means that they put something out there, which is the thesis, right? The proposition, the so-called otherwise known as the problem. Here's the problem. Okay, that's the proposition. And then they have something known as antithesis. So the opposite of that problem, which is the reaction, right? Whenever, let's say there's peace. You have money in the bank, you go to the bank, you go get your money, everything is good. Now, one day, all of a sudden, you go to the bank and it's completely shut down and it's barricaded by soldiers and their robot dogs, and they tell you your money is no longer in the safe, is being transported someplace that's safe, and you don't have access to it until the government tells you so. In order for us to know who you are, you have to be identified first in order to get your money back. And then you have to go take this thing, right? Now, most people will definitely end up doing it, but you have a select group of people that naturally things like this, they're not going to sit too well with, right? That's going to cause a reaction, a negative reaction, because they have no explanation, right, to their crisis, to their problems, to their loss. Something that they can't control, they'll come against, right? That's human nature. So the reaction, which is the antithesis, will be to the problem that was proposed, the problem that's there from the beginning, right? And then it's resolved at a higher level of truth, which is going into what? The synthesis, otherwise known as the solution. Okay, so everything that you see it goes through the same 3 steps: problem, reaction, solution. In order for them to get to something, all right, at the grand scheme of things, they have to do it step by step, right? In order for us to get to a cashless society, which is something they said years ago, and we said years ago, but guess what? When it was happening and being said years ago, it was all called conspiracy theories until they actually start happening. And then people act like we never said it. Right? Well, when the destruction comes, that's going to be the biggest, the biggest surprise to a lot of people, right? When you start seeing brothers being beamed up and your ass is still staying here to get blasted with missiles, it's going to send shockwaves through a lot of people's spine. All right, and we can't wait for that. Okay, because you didn't believe the truth. You thought we were crazy. All right, but we'll be crazy. Ultimately, we receive salvation by being crazy. Then count me crazy all day. All right. So continuing, it says, So the people are not even fighting back because they're being beat down on all sides, right? Very soon they're gonna kick up the hysteria, all right, of a so-called demic, all right, because they're already saying that they started shipping these Vanessas, all right, throughout different parts of the country already, right? Some type of flu Vanessa, some weird shit that's bird flu or some shit, Marburg. There's a whole bunch of shit going on, right? Which they plan on unveiling very soon, all right? Because again, they need that chaos problem, you know, in order for them to bring the solution to all the people's reactions, right? You guys are going crazy. There's chaos in the streets. We need to lock things down. We need to take away the guns from people. We need to do a seizure of firearms, you know? And then they're going to start raiding, you know? But let's go. It says, this is all part of the deep state's master plan. When they say deep state, is going into these so-called elites and shit like that. They're not really no deep state, but it's just something that they use, right, online to communicate, you know, in the form of these are the people behind closed doors, deep state. It says, ask yourselves, why are we being bombarded with crisis, distractions, fake news, and reality TV politics? We're being conditioned like lab mice to submit or subsist on a steady diet of bread and circuses or circus politics and an endless spate of crisis, right? And that goes back to, what's his name? Juvenal. Okay, I believe he was a Roman poet. All right, he said that give the people bread and circus, or give the people bread and circuses, all right, and they shall never revolt. You know, and why did he say that? Is because there was a time where, you know, when people are not distracted with sports, you know, television, media, entertainment, so-called, right, all these different things, gambling. Now they're adding gambling, so now people are forced to pay attention to these sports. You know, you can bet on these games and so on and so forth. So once your money's invested in it, your attention becomes invested in it, right? And that's a form of control, because the word sport, right, literally means that anything that takes your mind off of serious matters, serious issues. Okay, it's a form of distraction. You know, we're men, we all watch sports, but these people are stuck on it. Their lives revolve around that shit. You know what I'm saying? We do it as a form of, we need a break from this bullshit. You know, you check your sports and shit. It keeps you going, right? But we're not, you know, we're not invested in it. I'm a so-called Mets fan, right? A so-called Mets fan in the world. You know, when I see people where they talk sports and shit like that, you can get into it, you know, speak to them and shit like that. But, you know, do I sit here and watch the games like I used to back then? No. Yeah, I just catch the scores every now and again. Like, oh, okay, they played. Sometimes I don't even check it for like 2-3 weeks. And I come back, I'm, oh shit, look at this guy, what's going on here? Let me catch up on the news and so on and so forth. You know, because you got so much going on the right-hand side and definitely on the left-hand side that you got to stay in tune at all times. You know, it's hard to do with all this distraction. So what you want to do is you want to isolate yourself as best as you can spiritually and mentally. You know, that way you can see what's actually going on and give effective reports on it, you know, as a form of warning, you know. So they're using all these different distractions, right? So that people don't pay attention to the real issues that are happening. Because if they do, they'll see how corrupt it really is. And if they see how corrupt it really is, what's going to happen? They will revolt against it, right? So that when on the left-hand side, you're being with propaganda and all this media stuff, they're using that to, you know, get your mind, you know, into the left-hand side of doing things. But then you see us on the right-hand side breaking it down and exposing it for what it really is. It's all witchcraft. So if we're telling the truth, then we're going to break that spell. And that's what causes those issues with these devils. You know, in order for the spell to work, the person can't hear about the truth. You know, you're blinded. You know, that's the only way you receive this the spell to work. You got to be blinded. If your eyes are open, you can see it. And that's going to be a problem. It's not going to work. You know? So that's why the prophets are the most dangerous people on the planet Earth to these elites and their plans and their agenda. All right, because it's through the prophets' teachings that has woken up those who actually matter, which are the Israelites, nobody else. All right. So continuing, it says, let's see, it says, caught up with this crisis of the now, quote, right, quote unquote. The average person has a hard time keeping up with and remembering all of the so-called events, manufactured or otherwise, which occur like clockwork in order to keep us distracted, deluded, amused, and insulated from reality. Hey, you know what's crazy and spiritual? Man, that's the spirit. I forgot all about this, but I just remembered. I remember when we were kids. Let's say probably like 2009, 2010, around there. So not too long ago. And I remember my mom used to watch the news, CNN, all these different weirdo shit. And we were never into, watching TV and stuff. Like, we just watched cartoons like X-Men and those kind of things. But anyway, I remember there was a time where I asked my mom, I said, yo, do you notice how it seems like the news people always have something new to talk about? And then they could talk about the same thing for 3 months straight. It's like, damn, y'all not done reporting about the same shit? I remember when Michael Jackson died. I mean, damn, the news would not stop talking about it. Every day. Oh, new saga. It's like a reality show that you got to wait for the next day to catch. And I'm like, wait, how is this news? Like, they don't, like, all right, what happened? The guy died, cool. Report about it, we move on. Nah, they dragged that shit out for like 3 months. Every night they were talking something about Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5, what his father did when they were growing up. It was like a whole history. So I asked my mom, I said, so is this news? Like, what? It's like a documentary. What the hell was going on? And, she didn't even notice that. Like, she didn't even notice that there was something off about that. And then soon after that, like a few months after, like, everybody's tuning out, summer is coming, people chilling. They put up some weirdo incident where there was this kid who was caught up in some type of balloon and he was flying through the skies and there was breaking news and the whole nation was watching. Come to find out, this kid was in his garage somewhere playing and they had the whole world tuned in to watch some balloon flying around. Oh my goodness. And I'm watching. I told my mom, I said, this is not even real. So you mean to tell me that there's a kid actually in that balloon? How the hell did he get inside? And balloons to fly that high, it has to have helium. You know what I'm saying? So I'm questioning all these things. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. And where's the kid? Is he in the balloon? Is he on top of it? Did he fall off? Why they still, I'm asking just the basic questions. And my mom was just like, oh yeah, they're saying that there's a baby and the kid in the balloon. I'm like, what? But that was when we were kids, man. It was just little shit. We used to question everything. And now it all makes sense why. You see? And that's a beautiful gift that the Lord has given us, right? Let me see if I can get a quick precept. Let's see. Right, the Lord has opened up our minds to see these things, right? These 1,000-year-old mysteries and Esau's ways of control. All right, the Lord has broken all that. Now we can freely think. We can see things for what they are, right? This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 2. It says, and though I have the spirit of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. And ultimately that charity is doing this work. That is the biggest form of charity right now. All right. Is doing the work, man, doing the best you can as part of us building the third temple. Okay. You gotta keep on pushing. You gotta add on and add on and add on. The more you increase yourself, the more you're able to increase everybody else. You study, you fix yourself, you live yourself, you live like you would want to be, you live a life that you would want to imitate. You want to be as perfect as possible, and that comes with a lot of discipline. Me and my brother always talk about these things, from how we grew up, to what we're involved in. We understand how serious this thing is. This truth for us is not just a thing that, we know the truth. No, it's way beyond that for us for some reason. I'm sure brothers, you can all attest to that. See, it's a different spirit that comes with this thing. All right. That's why we treat it the way we treat it, because we know before this truth, we were nothing. We were out there just bugged the hell out doing all kinds of dumb shit. But this is what makes us different. Now we can see it. We see what things are for what they are. You know? And that didn't happen by chance. All right. So continue, it says, all the while the government continues to amass more power and authority over the citizenry. That's why when the truth comes out, they demonize it, because you're spoiling their plans. They're purposely distracting people, and you're trying to get people's attention to what they're being distracted from. Then you become the issue. That's what this whole cat and mouse game is all about. Okay? It says, when we're being bombarded with wall-to-wall news coverage and news cycles that change every few days, it's difficult to stay focused on one thing, namely holding the government accountable to abiding by the rule of law, and the powers that be understand this. It says, yet as John Lennon reminds us, nothing is real, especially not in the world of politics. In other words, it's all fake. For example, manufactured. All right? Manipulated to distort reality. And that's the truth. Okay? It says, much like the fabricated universe in Peter Weir's 1998 film, The Truman Show, in which a man's life is the basis for an elaborated stage television show aimed at selling products and procuring ratings. The political scene in the United States has devolved over the years into a carefully calibrated exercise in how to manipulate, polarize, propagandize, and control a population. Why is that? Because those who control the media are the ones who are behind all the things that they don't want you to know about. Okay, Rupert Murdoch. All right, he's been on my list for years, but Rupert Murdoch owns Fox News. But do you know who actually is behind those who own Fox News? You see, those people are the ones you can't speak against. The JJs, the Edomites. All right, they control all that shit. They control Rupert Murdoch. Right? So whenever there's somebody around who's bringing out information, and listen, Tucker Carlson is an insider. I believe he is either trained by the CIA or the FBI. I believe it's the CIA. He's an insider. Okay? So they're going to use him. However this is going to go out, they're going to use him to stir up those people, to weed out those so-called domestic terrorists. Because the things that he says is basically, he brings out information that's actually happening. It's not that he's just reporting on what's actually happening. While the other news media and the other media outlets are distracting you from what's actually happening. So he had to be removed. But he's going to be used, all right, to weed out those who are part of the people who are aware of things that are happening. Ultimately, it leads all the way back to the men of the Lord and His truth. Okay, that's the biggest problem. So they're gonna start tying it in. The things that he says, truth is what we say, but we attach the Bible to it. You know, so that's the next move. This is all going into the family of the Word. Okay, it says, this is the magic of the reality TV programming that passes for politics today. TV programming, right? As long as we are distracted, entertained, occasionally outraged, always polarized, but largely uninvolved and content to remain in the viewer's seat, we will never manage to present a unified front against blah, 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 blah. Let's see. It says studies suggest that the more reality TV people watch, and I'll posit that it's all reality TV, entertainment news included, the more difficult it becomes to distinguish between what is real and what is carefully crafted farce. That's true. Okay, because people can't tell the difference. Okay, when they see something on TV, they can't tell the difference of how it's also being fabricated in real life in order to bring about a certain solution. You know, when we tell you, oh yeah, this is a so-called false flag, People be like, what do you mean a lot of people died? Do you understand that this is a staged event to spark a certain reaction? Don't you understand that? Whenever they come out with a specific agenda, oh, this person was using this specific weapon. Oh, this person had a manifesto, you know? Oh, yeah, and you never see the person who did it. It just, the person, you just never hear from them again. You don't see them. You don't see them getting shot. You don't see them getting, they just disappear. It's like, oh, this is what happened. This is what happened, and you know, there's authorities around, and we're doing an investigation. Well, the person had a motive, you know. We found out that the FBI was actually following him. There's all kinds of weird shit. Don't you understand it's all fabricated? The stories suck. They wouldn't even make it on TV. But you people watch on the news and you think, oh yeah. You know, that's how they control the masses. It's all propaganda. So when we bring it out, oh, that's a problem, right? Let's get a quick precept. 2 Corinthians. All right, this is the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Right? So ultimately, it's through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua that we're not afraid. Okay, we don't fear these devils because we have the truth. You know, in our ignorant state, of course you fear these devils because you actually think that there's a power like that. But when you get this truth, you understand the power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, that he's in control of all things. The man's goings is of the Lord. See? And everything is set in the will of prophecy. Okay, it's already set up that way. So once you understand the prophecies, you grow in confidence and in faith because now you know it's just a matter of time. See, that's where we're at right now. So when we see all these things happening, all this deceptive shit that's going on, we know, okay, they're saying this, the banks are closing, all right, banks are shutting down and banks are losing money and train derailments and fire and all these different things. Food processing plants getting burnt down, animals being killed by the thousands in many different mysterious ways, right? Diseases on the rise coming up. Countries are getting together, brewing World War III, right? You've seen the morality of this land, the way people are living, the way people think is just getting worse and worse and worse. And those who have a little sense in them are noticing that there's a huge change since this CV thing started. Trump wasn't kidding when he said there's a spell that's been cast, because you could tell that there's something going on. You know, I mean, people have become much more wicked and bold. You know, if you hear some of these, oh shit, it's a lot. You know, if you hear some of these, stories that's happening nowadays, you know, you'll be surprised. You know, but then you be like, where else in the world are you witnessing some shit like this? It's only here in America. You know, you don't hear the kind of shit that you hear in America, like on the news, like, oh, there's a child who just did a trans, whatever. It's like, yo, why is this country like that? You know, and they're starting to push that influence on these other nations. You know, in order for their magic to work, their witchcraft to work, these other nations have to be deluded, right? You got to be underneath that influence. You got to you got to stagger, all right, with that strong drink, right? For the witchcraft to work. That's how they move. You know, they infiltrate you with all these philosophies and then get you to go off. You know, you end up destroying yourself and your people. You know, and then they'll come in and say, "Oh, we're here to save the day. Look at our technology. This is what we can do for you." That through all that shit, they've destroyed you. Now they can control you. That's all Esau does, man. You know, he keepeth not at home. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? Your home is about to be destroyed, since you don't want to stay here. All right, it's about to be destroyed, and wherever you're going to be at, the Lord said we're going to come find you. All right, and put you in captivity. That's it. Okay, and that must happen, and that will happen. Okay, that will happen. Let me get that real quick. Let's get that in the book of Revelation. All right, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 13 and verse 10. It says, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints." All right, when you kill with the sword, you're shedding blood. The scripture says the land cannot be cleansed, all right, unless it be cleansed by the blood of the one who shed it. Okay, that's why the sword, he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. And Esau, you've done a whole lot of killing with the sword, all the way from Christopher Columbus all the way till now, when you have your military going around and using their so-called technologically advanced military armaments to go and wreak havoc on so-called innocent lives in different countries. Right? You're shedding blood with your sword, man. All right, your weapon made out of iron. Your so-called AI. Your so-called evil genius niggas that always want to experiment their wicked devices, all right, on the Most High's creation. You know, the Lord's going to destroy you for that, right? Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. All right, here is the faith. All right, the patience and the faith of the saints. That's why we're sticking, all right, so tight to this truth and keeping our faith, because we know, all right, our patience will pay off. Right? We know our patience will pay off, man. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right? Get this last precept here. All right, this is what keeps us going. And this is going to be the most important factor, all right, in this crucial time that we're about to enter into. Okay? This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 1. It says, "Now faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Okay? The evidence of things not seen. So that's what we're looking for. The faith, okay, is what keeps us going, all right, towards what we hope for. Okay? Which is what? The kingdom. We hope to be delivered. We hope for the Lord to have mercy on us in the time of Jacob's trouble, right? And hold us through those difficult times of the temptation. All right? Take us through. Just like you did for our forefathers in the past, we ask that you do it for us again this time, Lord. You know, but this time even greater. You know what I'm saying? Because the wickedness is so great, Lord, you got to be greater to show them that they're nothing. See? And he's going to manifest that through his men. So we're about to enter into some very, very spiritual times. You know? Because the works of this world is calling for it. All right? The works of this world is calling for it, man. But that's why we have so much faith. All right? In Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. All right? So yeah, I just wanted to go into that real quick. All right, through the Spirit. Lord willing, you were edified. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahushai, B'Hashem, Rachakodash. The water Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And until next time, Shalom.